Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into the psychology of creativity. And, as we unpack the research together, we're going to see exactly why creativity isn't just some magical gift for the elite few. It's actually a whole lot more accessible to every single one of us. I mean, think about it. When you hear the word creative, where does your mind naturally go? Usually, we picture a literary giant like Tagore, right? Or maybe a scientific mastermind like Einstein. But is this trait really only for geniuses? Like, is it some exclusive club you have to be born into with a once-in-a-generation mind? No way.
Section 1. Defining creativity. More than just genius.
So what's really fascinating here is how straightforward the baseline definition actually is. At its core, creativity is literally just the ability to produce something new, original, and unique. That's it. It doesn't lock you into a specific medium. It could be writing a novel or making a massive scientific breakthrough, sure, but it could also be everyday stuff, like finding a clever, unique solution to a problem around the house. It's basically a massive spectrum. On one far end, yeah, you've got the absolute highest level of creativity, producing completely new, paradigm-shifting ideas, like Einstein's theory of relativity. But on the other end, that's where everyday creativity lives. We do this all the time by just modifying or improving existing ideas. Think about when you improvise a recipe because you're missing half the ingredients, or when you figure out a clever workaround in a weekend carpentry project. That is creativity in action. Section 2. The roots of creativity. Where does it come from? Okay, so if we all have a place on this spectrum, how does this trait actually develop in us, starting from childhood? Well, it's not just nature and it's not just nurture. It's an interactive mix of both. Your heredity, your genetics, sets the absolute limits of your creative potential. But your environment? That's what dictates how much of that potential actually gets unlocked. Things like your family's support, peer influences, your own internal motivation, and the opportunities you get, those are what actively build up your innate abilities. The big takeaway here is that while no amount of training is going to magically transform an average person into a historic genius, it is scientifically proven that training can and does enhance everyone's baseline creative abilities. So yeah, every single one of us can push our creative potential higher. Section 3. Creativity versus Intelligence, the Sunita and Rita Showdown. This brings us to one of the biggest, most stubborn myths in psychology, the idea that high intelligence automatically equals high creativity. Let's look at a classic comparison from the source material. Imagine two students. First, there's Sunita. She gets top marks, follows instructions flawlessly, learns super fast, and reproduces information perfectly. But she rarely comes up with anything totally original. Then you've got Rita. Rita has totally average grades, maybe doesn't do perfectly on standard tests, but she's constantly inventing innovative, out-of-the-box solutions in her daily life. Sunita is highly intelligent in the traditional sense, but Rita is the highly creative one. And this isn't just a fun anecdote. This perfectly lines up with formal research dating back to Louis Terman. His findings proved that a high IQ simply does not guarantee high creativity. In fact, highly creative people very often have just average intelligence. Ultimately, both highly intelligent and totally average kids can be incredibly creative. Now, researchers agree you do need a minimum baseline of intelligence to be creative. I mean, you need the basic capacity to acquire knowledge, retain it, and reason through things. A writer has to understand language, right? A scientist needs to understand logic. But once you hit that foundational minimum threshold, just piling on more and more IQ points does not translate into more creativity. Section 4. Measuring creativity. How do we test it? So this presents a really interesting logistical problem. If a standard intelligence test can't capture this trait, how on earth do psychologists actually measure it? Well, they use open-ended tests. These tests use words, pictures, actions, or even sounds to measure specific abilities. They look at your fluency, like how many different ideas can you generate. They check for originality. They see if you can spot hidden relationships between things or predict causes. And my personal favorite, they test if you can find really weird, unusual ways to use totally common everyday objects. The secret sauce behind all these open-ended tests is something called divergent thinking. Divergent thinking is basically the ability to branch out and find multiple possible answers to an open-ended problem. It's about letting your brain off the leash and exploring alternative paths instead of just hunting for one specific destination.
And this is a total 180 from traditional intelligence tests. Those tests measure convergent thinking. Convergent thinking is that rigid, laser-focused search for the single, mathematically or logically correct answer. It leans really heavily on memory, accuracy, and clear reasoning, which is great, but it leaves virtually zero room for spontaneity or imagination.
Now, because divergent thinking is so fluid and subjective, measuring it accurately is wildly complex. Over the years, specialized, standardized tests have been developed by pioneering psychologists, names you might hear in the field like Guilford, Torrance, Catena, Wallach and Kogan, Parmesh, Bucker, Mehdi, and Passy. These aren't like quick online magazine quizzes. They require extensive, serious training for professionals to properly administer and interpret. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a thought to apply to your own life today. Think about a challenge you recently faced. Did you actively nurture your divergent thinking by exploring a bunch of unique alternative solutions? Or did you just run on autopilot, searching for that one standard, quote-unquote, correct answer? Stay curious, keep exploring, and keep creating.